final men's Elimination Chamber spot has been filled as Monday Night Raw just went off the air. We all just watched it together. Seth Rollins did, in fact, defeat Finn Balor to earn the final spot in the Elimination Chamber, as we assumed he would. I don't think anybody was believing that Finn Balor really had a chance here, because I think there's going to be a lot of stories told in the Chamber, and Rollins is now in. We had an interesting finish to that main event that we all saw with the referee or Finn Balor. I think one of the two of them screwed up on a near fall there. Seth Rollins hit a pedigree onto Finn Balor. Referee goes down to count 1, 2, and then stops his count. And then Finn Balor immediately kicked out. So I believe one of two things happened here. That was either supposed to be the finish. The pedigree was supposed to be the finish, and the referee screwed up by not counting 3, or Finn Balor was supposed to kick out and the stomp was going to be the finish, and Finn Balor forgot and the referee had to stop his count. Now, we've heard throughout the years the WWE tells the referees to treat everything like a shoot, but this is a situation where you can't just count down, well, I guess he was supposed to, or was it? Yeah, it was Balor that didn't kick out, right? I kind of had that backwards, but you can't screw up and just go with it like you could on maybe a normal Monday Night Raw match, because there's too much, kind of at stake. So Rollins was very pissed, what the hell? And there was some talk in there, a little bit of stalling before they went into their next sequence, which ended with a really cool finish and a stomp for a Seth Rollins win. So it might have just been as simple as a near fall botch, or maybe it was something bigger. Either way, it looked kind of weird, and that was one little hiccup in the match there. Overall, though, I still thought the match was good, despite the very, very predictable ending and finish to that. Now, where this leaves us for the Chamber is Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, John Cena, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. That is your field for the Elimination Chamber. One of those men will be facing Cody Rhodes. Now, as we were watching the main event, we were kind of breaking this down a little bit with the possibilities. And one of the possibilities, the many possibilities that we've heard about, is several different ideas for multi-man matches. And I think a lot of fans are already getting a little worried that WWE might be going overboard with the multi-person matches this year. You can already tell they're probably setting one up with Braun Breaker. And then we had also heard of the possibility of doing Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. And even though I think that would be a fun enough match that I could definitely get behind, especially in the build, I feel like the match at this point that you should do is Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. You got to do the match that would, I think, garner the most interest from the audience. And I think when we've had those teases between Punk and Cody last year and this year, that we have all been on the edge of our seats with that stuff. And I think that would provide the most entertaining main event for night 2. Would be Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. So that's what I'm hoping happens now. And based on what we saw at the end of the Royal Rumble with Rollins stomping Roman, essentially knocking him out of contention for the Chamber, taking away his WrestleMania match, I'm hoping that Roman shows up in the Chamber and costs Seth Rollins or attacks Seth Rollins, and that sets up Roman and Rollins one-on-one at WrestleMania. Then it's down to Punk and it's down to Cena. I don't think it's going to be Priest, and I don't think it's going to be Drew. Both of them are on SmackDown, and I think WWE is going to want Cody's championship build to take place on both shows. So a Raw person or an independent would be the best choice for Cody's opponent. So it could be Cena, because Cena could go to SmackDown, Cody could come to Raw, and you can do it on both shows. You also achieve that with Logan Paul, you achieve that with Rollins, and you achieve that with CM Punk. And if you get Punk and Cody doing their build on both shows, I think that would make for the best WrestleMania season. So unless something crazy happens, like The Rock showing up at the last minute and giving himself a title shot because he's a TKO board member, or adding Roman to the match and we get some big fatal 4-way at WrestleMania, Cody, Roman, Punk, and Rollins, aside from anything like that happening, I think the best options at this point would be to do Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. And if you did Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, Cody could totally retain. Absolutely. Fans would probably hate it, just like a lot of them hated Roman Reigns retaining. But if you're WWE, are you going to let CM Punk have his cake and eat it too? After all that time gone, we're going to let you come in and get the big moment? How about this? Compromise. We'll give you the WrestleMania main event, but you're losing. There you go. At least Punk can say he main evented WrestleMania. I feel like Triple H, to give him the whole moment there, that would be pretty wild. But if he did beat Cody by, say, perhaps turning heel in the match, because he's pretty easy to do that, turns heel and wins the title, and he somehow holds it until SummerSlam, that's where you would have Seth Rollins beat him for it. So that's looking way ahead. But Cody at this point, Punk at this point, I feel like is the best choice from where we sit right now to win the Chamber. Because John Cena and Cody would be special, but I feel like John Cena's retirement run so far, if he wins the Chamber, he's going to be on TV every week until Mania. I know that. But it feels like his retirement run, he's not going to be on TV even close to every week. He's going to be in and out for most pay-per-views and a couple of shows here or there, but he's still going to be doing his John Cena life. I was expecting him to look a little different, maybe cut his hair super short, get a tan, look a little bit more like the Cena of old when you're out there instead of somebody who's just kind of doing this as a formality, as just a victory lap, goodbye tour, which is nice, but I don't have any interest in him and Cody Rhodes unless, there's a little bit more fire behind John Cena's eyes, So I would rather hold off Cena and Cody until the end, until Cena's leaving. All the way later on in the year, in December, you book a pay-per-view completely dedicated to John Cena. You Can't See Me or whatever it is, and you do the main event, Cody and Cena, and that's where Cena's last match is. So I can wait on that. I don't need it at WrestleMania. I think Cody and Punk is the match. And if you do Cody and Punk, then you probably avoid doing a triple threat or a multi-man match, which from what we can understand, most fans right now don't want to see. So what do you think about that? What do you think about those matches laid out? Rollins Roman, Cody Punk, Logan Cena. I say Logan Cena because I don't know what else Cena would really do. Even if Randy Orton came back, he's going to be Kevin Owens related. So, I feel like Cena and Logan would be a great match for outside influence, for the mainstream media press it would get. A couple of celebrities that are pretty large outside of the WWE world, they're facing each other. The promotion you could do for that in the free time that these guys both have away from WWE, you could throw both of their asses on Kimmel at the same time. There's all sorts of stuff you could probably do. And I think that would be good for mainstream. Cena versus Logan Paul, two, arguably household names. God, I hate to say that, but it's probably true. I doubt there's a teenager in the world who doesn't know who Logan Paul is. So I think that might be one of the better matches to do in terms of publicity. And honestly, I'd be fine with that because I don't really like Logan Paul and I'm not really super into Cena's retirement run so far. So the two of them can just work together for all I care. So that's kind of what I'm hoping we get at WrestleMania. That's the way I hope it all shakes out from where we sit right now, unless we're given some big surprise or some big swerve or something that we're not seeing coming. The match that, if I'm at Triple H's shoes and hey, Triple H, whatever you do, I would say, what's the match that's going to get the fans the most excited? And when I look at all my different pairings, Cody's got the title, so he's going to have to be one of those entities. And so who's he going to go up against? And when I think about all of the interactions that Cody has had with the current crop of talent in the Chamber on TV, the biggest reactions have come when he's sharing a ring with CM Punk. That's my pitch. That's my case. At this point, it's got to be CM Punk. We'll see. We'll see. And that would be way better, in my opinion, than multi-man matches or too many of them. I don't hate them. I don't hate doing one. I don't hate throwing a triple threat like we got at WrestleMania 30 was the last time for that, right? We've had a fatal four-way at WrestleMania 2000. We've had a cash in, making it a triple threat in 2015. So we've had multi-man deals, but I don't know if I would want that for a main event. I think Cody and Punk one-on-one would be just more interesting even than all four of them. So I think you get more marquee matches if you split everybody up with a Rollins and a Roman. And I would make a case for not only Cody retaining over Punk, but Roman Reigns dropping his second straight WrestleMania to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is owed a victory by everybody. So Rollins should absolutely beat Roman Reigns if that match happens. And Roman could immediately bounce back and go over to Raw and beat Jay Uso, who might be the new World Heavyweight Champion by then. Wouldn't that be some shit? So Roman could drop 2 straight WrestleManias, but it wouldn't mean anything if he jumped over to Raw and beat his cousin for the title and took it away from him. Just like the old, oh, you thought you were world champion? No, I don't think so. Give me that. Could be fun. Or Jay also beats Roman Reigns. So much to think about. But that was our main event tonight. Seth Rollins wins and qualifies for the Chamber. In terms of what else we saw tonight on Raw, we were opened with Sami Zayn coming out, cutting a promo on Kevin Owens and is demanding a match with him at Elimination Chamber. But Adam Pearce came out and said, look, we talked about this. You're too injured. You're not cleared. And then Sami cuts a very passionate promo talking about his history with Owens and how Pearce is well aware of this history and convinces Pearce to give him the match against Kevin Owens, only it will be unsanctioned. So it's going to be one of those unsanctioned deals, and that's fine. We had a suspicion that we might not get a full-blown match here because these guys are going to definitely work Mania, and I think a Hell in a Cell match would be a great idea. My only question, though, is where does Randy Orton fit in? Orton could definitely do something else, but they already set up the pile driver stuff. So Orton would have to come back and rectify that and then move on to working with Cena or something. There's no time to get all that done. So Orton's going to have to come back and be a part of this somewhere. So maybe Elimination Chamber is where Randy Orton comes back and he gets in the middle of this. Now, I don't know what that means for WrestleMania, if it's now Orton and Owens. And if it is, where does that leave Sami? Maybe it's Orton and Owens and Sami, since he's injured, is the special guest referee. Do we want to do that? No, I don't think we do. But what would they do now? Like, I feel like Owens and Sami, if they're entering into a feud here, again, for the 100th time, I can't see them starting the feud and having whatever this is going to be at the Chamber and then being done, and Owens is just moving on to Orton by himself and Sami's going in his direction. That doesn't seem likely. So the 3 of them, that could be another triple threat. It could be that. That's why, all of these multi-man possibilities might not be good. Ryan, good point. Ryan says Sami versus Cross. They're definitely setting something up with Cross. He's been hanging around Sami a bit, and he could get involved in that too. And that could be what we do. We do the big fight with Sami and Owens. Cross and Orton both get involved, and that splits them off into their individual WrestleMania matches. Yeah, that works. Sami against Karrion Kross at WrestleMania. Yeah. I could see that. So after all of that, we get AJ Styles taking on Dominic. And I forgot how that finish was. I forgot the finish of AJ Styles and Dominic. I know Braun Breaker came out after the match and tried to hit a spear on AJ, but he just sliced Dominic Mysterio in half, which was awesome. And then AJ and Breaker kind of paused and posed with the Intercontinental title belt. So that match one-on-one would be terrific. Braun Breaker, AJ Styles at WrestleMania. God, I hate that name, Braun Breaker. Hate saying it. Braun Breaker and AJ Styles for the title at WrestleMania. That would be great. The only problem is, number one, it's not Sheamus. And number two, WrestleMania is still 8 weeks away. What the hell are you going to do for 8 weeks with these two guys? To build that. So this is one area where I feel like a multi-man match is happening. And it might be a way just to smash Braun over in the same way they did Gunther when he worked that triple threat with Drew and Sheamus, and he put them both down. Oh, I also forgot about WrestleMania 21. Triple threat. Stacked, remember? So there's another one. So if they did something with Breaker similar to what they did with Gunther at 39, and they do that with him at 41, they put him in a four-way where he just mows down everybody and retains, that would be great. The only problem with that is, I mean, how many more times are we going to jerk Sheamus around? And if Sheamus is going to win the Intercontinental title, I don't think I want him to win it in a four-way. I feel like that needs to be a one-on-one thing. You know, that championship, after it's eluded you for your entire career, which has spanned, 15 years now, and you've never won the belt, and then when you finally do, it's this fatal four-way shit. But I guess it would be at WrestleMania, so all is well. So it would be Breaker versus AJ, Sheamus, and who else? Who else is involved in this scenario here? It definitely won't be Jacob Fatu because Jacob's going to be working with Solo Sikoa. After that match, we had a number one contenders match for Lyra Valkyria's Intercontinental Championship. It was Dakota Kai taking on Ivy Nile, and this was good. Dakota Kai got the win. Again, I'm just kind of reading off the results here. Did anybody get involved? I don't think so. Yeah, nobody got involved in that one, but Lyra was out there sitting in, watching the match, and a little stare down with her and Dakota. I like that. Not sure when that match is going to happen, but Dakota over Ivy Nile. Then Gunther comes out for a big promo. It's his turn to talk about Jay Uso. Calls the crowd trash, comes out through the crowd just like Jay Uso does, stands on the announce table with his exposed ankles and his little short pants, and gets in Pat McAfee's face a little bit until Jay Uso comes out there to kind of save the day. So they brawl, they're separated, and we have 8 more weeks of this. So at some point, we're going to hopefully get like a tag match in there somewhere. I would love for Jimmy Uso to hop over to Raw and team with Jay to take on like Gunther and Ludwig, maybe like on the Go Home Raw or something like that. Or back in the day, they used to book mega tags. Remember, like on Go Home Mania shows used to be monstrous, and they feel like kind of duds in the past few years. You should book, let's say, for example, Punk wins the Chamber. Then I would do, well, shit, how do you do that? But I was about to say, I would do like a big tag like Cody and Jay against Gunther and Punk, something like that on the Go Home Raw. That would be crazy fun. So hopefully we get a little bit more out of them this year, but I have my doubts about Triple H with that. He doesn't seem like somebody who is going to take a crazy chance or just do something awesome these days. We had Penta taking on Peter Dunne, got the win over him. So Penta got another victory against Pete Dunne. Kaiser came out, tried to interfere in this, but it did not matter. They all brawled after the match, and Kaiser later on would cut a promo during one of those commercial breaks where, he's very angry at Penta. So we'll probably get Penta and Kaiser next week on Raw, I would assume. We then had the women's Elimination Chamber qualifier. I believe the final spot here as well. Roxanne Perez defeating Raquel Rodriguez. Pretty fun match. Raquel dwarfs Roxanne. But I had a feeling since Liv was out there, Roxanne would get the win with some help. And since they kind of revealed the footage on SmackDown showing Raquel and Liv implicated in the Jade Cargill attack, out came Bianca and Naomi dressed in like little cheerleader outfits to beat the hell out of Liv Morgan. That distracts Raquel. Roxanne comes in with the pop rocks and puts her down and gets the win there. So now we have the entire chamber for the women also filled, correct? I can't reach my keyboard. There we go. Yeah, it's Roxanne, Bayley, Naomi, Bianca, Alexa Bliss, and Liv Morgan. That's your field for the women now. So we talked about this on the watch-along. When you look at that field, just like when you look at the men's field, and that's why it's easy for me to kind of break it down, I feel like the best option there is CM Punk. I do, but John Cena is there front and center, man, and it could very well be him. But I'd rather see Punk and Cody than Cena and Cody. But with the women, when you look at the field there, this is Rhea Ripley we're talking about, okay? It's not going to be Morgan again. They're not going to do that. I know she's been in like 13 Elimination Chamber matches and she's winless, but it's not going to be Liv. We just did all of that. So I don't think we're going to get Morgan and Ripley. I don't think there's really anything else to settle there, at least for right now. Roxanne, it's not going to be Roxanne. It's not going to be Bayley. Bayley and Ripley could be fun, but Bayley, I just feel like it's not going to be Bayley. It's not going to be Naomi. It comes down to two women in my mind. It comes down to Bianca Belair or Alexa Bliss. Now, on the podcast on Saturday, I pitched, hey, let's just turn Bianca heel. Let's make her the one that attacked Jade Cargill. And then she goes and mows down everybody here in the chamber, wins the match, and now Rhea has got her hands full with a very determined, motivated, now heel Bianca with an attitude and a killer instinct. I'd be scared shitless of her. That's somebody that could actually stand toe-to-toe with Rhea Ripley. The only other one that I could think of that maybe could stand toe-to-toe with her in terms of intimidation would be Alexa Bliss if she starts hanging around with the Wyatt Six. The problem is the Wyatt Six are on SmackDown. So if she had them behind her and they were all fucking with Rhea Ripley, that, might be kind of interesting unless Rhea came to SmackDown and then she'd have Priest to back her up a little bit. But Alexa Bliss could be a possibility, but I think the only one that makes the absolute most sense at this point is Bianca Belair. So it's got to be her, but you got this Jade Cargill storyline tied in, and I suppose it could just be Naomi, which would kind of just be a letdown because it's obvious that it's probably her. I think you really make a splash if it's Bianca Belair. But if Bianca's not into turning heel, then that's not going to happen. But I think that would make for the biggest impact and set yourself up with a really intriguing now title match between Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, a match that I've always thought could main event a WrestleMania. The problem is they didn't build it for a whole year like I thought they were gonna. They've kind of gotten to it at the end here. So if they turn Bianca heel, at least that turns up the gas on that. And now you've got a really formidable, angry Bianca Belair. I would love to see that. Maybe symbolically take a pair of scissors and just chop off the braid right there live on Raw. Reveal that she was the one that attacked Jade Cargill and then attacks Naomi and then throws the title on her, and then Naomi gives the belt to Jade, and then they're tag team champions. And Bianca's off on her own. I'd like something like that way more than it just being Naomi, the one that attacked her, or being Liv and Raquel. Liv and Raquel at least makes a little bit of sense since they did the same thing to Rhea Ripley, right, with the orbital bone thing. So at least that fits what they've been doing. But again, I think that would kind of be like a letdown when you have an opportunity to do something really fun here with Bianca. But usually when I want something to happen that's really fun, that really fun thing doesn't happen. And this probably won't either. But anyway, congrats to Roxanne or Roseanne Perez, as Lillian Garcia apparently announced her as. I wasn't listening. I was probably flapping my gums. After that, we had an Io Sky vignette, and then it was Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Incidentally, Io Sky will be facing Ripley for the championship the Monday after Elimination Chamber on Raw. So that match is coming up. And then we had Kofi and Xavier Woods cutting a promo where they explained why they attacked Rey Mysterio last week, because as we watched, the show went off the air last minute, or 2 seconds after they jumped in the ring on Rey. Boom, fade to black. So we didn't even really know what happened. But we got a chance to see it, and they explained all of that. And they were interrupted by the LWO. They ran to the ring. They brawled. It was a nothing segment. Pretty boring. And then we got the announcement that next week on Raw, Liv Morgan and Raquel will be challenging Bianca Belair and Naomi for the tag team titles. So this could be where something happens. We either get the titles switched here, because I think that Liv Morgan, like I said, she's not going to win the chamber. So I can't see her. I mean, outside of the title matches, I can't see any other singles women's matches. I even feel like the IC in the US, Chelsea and Lyra, they're not going to have one-on-one matches at WrestleMania. I don't think they are. So Liv, after the year she had, it would be good to get her on the show. You make her a tag team champion. I think the tag titles will be on the line at WrestleMania, but I don't think the US or the IC will, because I feel like if you did one, you got to do both. And there's not enough room for both. That's my view on it anyway. I could be wrong about that, but this gets Liv on the show. She's a champion now, and they defend the titles, maybe against Naomi and Jade, if Bianca turns out to go heel. Barry, you've got Liv winning the Chamber. Liv and Rhea again, to me, would just be weird. We got it at SummerSlam. Then we finally got the WrestleMania or the Saturday Night's Main Event match where she finally won, right? Is that where it was? Where was it? Or no, was it Mondays? It was the Netflix Raw, right? I just feel like for Mania to do that again, it's Mania. You know, we just had a year of that. So I don't know. I mean, they've had enough. There's enough history in the build, and the Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley feud definitely, I think, exceeded expectations, and they kind of ran into a happy accident there when Ripley got injured, allowing Liv to become who she is now. She's the most interesting she's ever been, and her character is as good as it's ever been. So she's doing the best work right now, and a lot of that happened because of the unplanned injury to Rhea Ripley. So it's one of those things that just happened, and a lot of times some of the most over talent has gotten over at the expense of somebody else being knocked out. And that's the way the greatest of all time came to be, Tom Brady. Drew Bledsoe wouldn't have twisted whatever the fuck. Brady would have never gotten in there. We'd have never known. You know, so it's just the way it is. It's the way it is in life. And she took advantage, and look at where her career is now. Like, I remember nothing about what Liv did prior to this, but she's been pretty good throughout this, and she's done a good job, and she's handled the spotlight like a complete pro, total pro. And that brought us to the main event. Like we talked about, Rollins defeating Finn Balor, and we just ran through all of that here at the beginning of the review, where we broke down all of the different WrestleMania scenarios and how that could all possibly shake out, and how I want it to shake out. You know, because I just think that Punk and Cody is the way to do it. But if you do a four-way, or if you do some mega four-way or something like that, that's fine. I'm not going to reject it, because I think that there's a part of me that thinks that could be fun too. But the old dog in me just wants one-on-one. And Cody and Punk right now, from where everything stands in the field, in the chamber, provides you with the best possible match. Plus, they've already laid the groundwork for Rollins and Roman. So I feel like you can kind of count Rollins out, even though Rollins winning it and facing Cody would be very fitting, considering that they wrestled when Cody debuted and everything that Rollins did to help him win the title. That match, storyline-wise, would make all the sense in the world if Rollins won the chamber. But I think Roman showing up and costing him or attacking him or something like that would pave the way for Cody and Punk. So we shall see. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you for being here tonight. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. But you will be seeing me again this week. We'll be here this weekend, of course, for the podcast. I've got some shorts to drop and some other things I'm working on, so keep a lookout for all of that. Please let me know all of your thoughts about Raw tonight or the Chamber, where you see everything going, and fantasy book me your WrestleMania card. Drop them in the comments. Give me the whole thing. Give me all the title matches anyway. And where do you think the multi-man matches can be? Where do you think the one-on-ones could be? Thank you, the Juliet. AJ Styles hit the Styles Clash for the 3. I couldn't remember. I just knew he beat little Dom there. So let me know what you think of Mania and the Chamber, and how your potential booking shakes out different than mine. I'd be interested to read it. I don't think there's any other wrestling. Well, there's a little bit of wrestling news, but I don't have it all prepared tonight. So maybe I'll hit you guys with a mic drop this week, because I am off on Wednesday. So you might be hearing from me again. You guys take care. Have a great rest of your night, and I'll be catching you in just a couple of days. Peace.